Many people confuse being holy with being spiritual. In the Torah this week, we have the commandment, Kedoshim Tiyu, be holy. Nowhere in the Torah does it tell us to be spiritual. There's no such mitzvah. What is the difference between spirituality or spiritual and holiness? Many people, especially people suffering from tragic circumstances or are down and they're seeking answers, they sometimes end up seeking people who are diviners, psychics, spiritual people that can do certain things that seemingly are unnatural, and perhaps they are unnatural. The Torah, in fact, tells us as part of being holy is never to follow diviners, people that are engaged in divination, sorcerers, and all that kind of thing. And it seems that in the Torah's worldview, being holy is not synonymous with being spiritual. Bilam, the great prophet of the non-Jewish prophets, was a whole spiritual person, but very unholy. And that's true in many, many cases. And again, the Torah is very specific, be holy, not be spiritual. Now, certainly being spiritual sometimes is holy, but they're not synonymous. If your friend's transmission broke and is stuck, he doesn't have the money to buy a new transmission, and you give him $500 or whatever it is you can to help him fix his transmission, nothing of that was spiritual. His transmission isn't spiritual. You, the giver of the $500 isn't spiritual. The giver is not spiritual, and the taker isn't spiritual. But that was a very holy act. Nothing of it was spiritual. All of it was very, very holy. So yeah, we shouldn't confuse the two. Be spiritual, and don't seek out, just because someone is a mystic and someone knows how to manipulate spiritual forces, and sometimes even if it works. And the Torah is not telling us to not follow the people who are charlatans. The Torah is telling us don't follow even those who are real diviners, real sorcerers. They're not holy, they're not godly. Stay away from it. Just stick to the Torah's prescription of how to be holy. Spirituality, you'll leave for those. Now, of course, as I said, being spiritual sometimes is also very holy. When you're davening and you're involved in a deep intention while you're davening, you're being very spiritual, and that is holy, but not because it's spiritual. It's because you're doing what God wants. Being holy means to do what God wants, even if it's unbelievably physical and material. Have a good Shabbos.